So this is year 18 for me doing SEO and analytics, going back to the era before analytics was spelled with a capital A. I used to do analytics when it was a tool called Web Trends, and there were several tools we used, almost like the hit counters like back in those days. And analytics was spelled with a small a because it's a category of product. Now when we say analytics, it's almost always spelled with a capital A because it's like a Google product. And then it's about 10 years of experience doing content marketing, content strategy, social media, email, and blogging. So good to see you, JD. So this is a presentation that is just like the latest. This is all the stuff I've been doing more recently. And some of this stuff is kind of the fancier tricks that I've been testing and trying the last year and a half or so. Things that I didn't figure out until much more recently. And it's all content marketing. A lot of it is SEO. And this is just an opportunity to show you what we're doing now. But this can be as interactive as you'd like. And if you want to ask me questions or interrupt or speed me up or slow me down or just make it a conversation, that's great too. So the first thing I learned, and my first tip for this presentation, is the title is Analytics or is Advanced Content and SEO. My advice to you guys is to never name a presentation Advanced. It's a bad idea. I gave something like this in Boston at Marketing Profs. And some people said too advanced, some people said too basic. It's basically impossible. Like, I just set expectations all wrong already, like just by saying advanced. Like, this will be too basic for some of you and like maybe a little bit much for others. This was information overload. He went way too fast. These were actual feedback. This was basic info. I was hoping for more. These were both bits of feedback I got on the same presentation. So don't ever use the word advanced in your marketing or in anything at all if you can help it. It just doesn't work out well. But these are the things that I'm doing now. This is a screenshot of Google Analytics showing weekly traffic going back 4.5 years to the time that I was getting 2,100 visits a month. And we're getting now roughly 21,000 a week, 21,000 visits a week at this point. Sometime earlier today, we crossed the 1 million mark for visitors in 2017. So how do we do that? It's really, I have a strong bias towards search, because it's hard to create a sustainable, ever-increasing, gentle curve or line going upward with email or social. But search works like this beautifully because we can keep publishing more content relevant to more phrases, ranking higher for more and more things, and there's no limit to the number of pages you can put on your website. So I have a strong bias towards search because it becomes an almost passive source of traffic. If you have a page that ranks now, it tends to rank for a while, and we can keep adding more and more content to our websites, of course. If this is, I love this quote, if this is, seems like a bit much, a bit fast, I think of John Acuff's advice. He says, never compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Last night at our monthly event, Wine and Web, I got to interview Ginny Dietrich. And like, wow, I'm like always just trying to learn as much as possible from her. Right? This is always true. So don't feel, so it's, if some of this is very new information or sounds like it's a bit much that you'll be able to apply immediately, then just think of it as an introduction to concepts. But hopefully there's at least some really practical takeaways. The other thing that I always do, I always get this feedback. They want more pictures of my kid. I have a 1.5-year-old, so there he is. I'm going to get this out of the way. That's baby Eli. He turns 2 in April. This is him at the Skokie Lagoons with my wife, Crystal. It looks like he's dancing. He's actually trying to leave. He wants her to go. On the couch. Eli, check. Got that out of the way. And here's a quick review for just SEO in general. These are the principles of SEO. There are two main factors that explain why a page does or doesn't rank. Those factors are authority, links to a website or to a web page, and relevance, using key phrases, choosing and using key phrases. So here's an example. You create a piece of content. That content has keyword relevance, and it uses a phrase on the page. Okay? That content links to something else on another website, maybe a piece of research, maybe something Sue published. It's something useful, something somewhere else. That links away from your site to another site, and that red line there is a link. Now you write an article for someone else, you pitched a guest post, and they accepted it, and it's on some other website, and that's also a key phrase relevant page, and that links to this other research just as the first piece did, and it links back to you. So here's a quiz. The red stuff is relevant in search, right? Relevance is keywords, and authority is links. So which of these links, arrows, and keywords help your rankings? The guest post? This key phrase or the link?
I think the link.
The link. This link from here to here helps your rankings, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. What about this link? What about this link? What about this keyword or this keyword? Yeah, the answer is that key phrase and that link are relevant to your SEO, help your rankings. Linking away from your site has nothing to do with your rankings. Writing content on the key phrases in other websites have nothing to do with your rankings. You rank for one or two, there's two reasons why things rank. They have authority, other sites link to them, and they have relevance. They say what they're about. This to me reminds me of offline. Why do we listen to someone? Two reasons. One, they're credible, authority, and two, they're saying something, relevance. The two reasons why we don't listen to someone is because either we don't trust them or else they're not talking. Make sense? This is this key phrase on your page and this link to that page. And there's really two kinds of SEO companies. On-page or SEO tactics or strategies, on-page SEO, choosing and using key phrases, and off-site SEO. It's like digital PR. It's like blogger relations. It's like influencer marketing. So that's my super quick review. Eventually you end up realizing like, wow, I really need to create research on my site, or I need to keep posting on other websites. And really that's largely like one of the huge reasons to do content marketing in general. If you want your service pages to rank, people never link to service pages. Notice that? Why would someone link to one of your service pages? That would be really weird. People don't ever do that. They're not link worthy. So if you want to have your entire website have enough authority that your products and services rank, you need to have lots of content marketing content that is worthy of being linked to that other sites will link to. That's almost like the best benefit of publishing all these helpful, useful articles. The people who read these are almost never become leads, right? But these pages attract authority, and the authority helps all this other stuff rank. So at a very high level, like this is one of the main benefits of content marketing. There's key phrases where you'll just have a 0%, you'll never rank for those unless you have a site with a high domain authority. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So content, how do we produce content? How do we produce link-worthy content or content worth ranking? We're busy, everyone is busy, and so one of the biggest stressors in this industry is like, how am I going to find time to do this? So one of my first tactics is something I've been doing the last couple of years actually, which is this trick I use to turn my day-to-day email into high-ranking articles. I'm going to show you right now how to turn your day-to-day emails, who sent email today? All of us have sent email today. There isn't anyone who didn't send an email already today. What time? It was 5:45 this morning when I sent my first email today, right? Like we all write a lot. We write all day long. And this is the irony in marketing, right? People say, oh, I know I'm supposed to blog. Andy, you talk about blogging, but I just don't have time to blog. I'm too busy sending email all day long. Ironic, right? I don't have time to write because I'm too busy writing. Super weird. People say that all the time. But in fact, right, that you can, here's a mechanism, here's a strategy for repurposing your normal communication. So random stock photo lady sends you an email and says, would you mind answering this question? And you get these all the time, right? All the time. They look like this. Hey, blah, 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 client, help, friend, relative, whoever, anyone from online, right? In social media, it happens all the time. Or maybe if you built a personal brand, you get these sometimes, or people do it all. Anybody gets these, right? Can you contribute to this thing I'm working on? These are just emails that just come across all the time. What are they asking for? Content. They want answers. They want help, advice. So my answers sound like this. Sure, here are a few thoughts. Is this helpful? And then I go all out, like super detailed answers with bullet lists and bolding and numbers and links sometimes, right, and images. And if you pan out, like that's the actual, this is an email that I replied to someone, like that's everything I can possibly put into this email to explain everything. Not exaggerating, this is a real screenshot. Someone asked me some questions, and this was my reply. I'm a very busy person. I work an average of I'm working 65 hours a week. How would I have time to do that? Right? I have 38 employees and 400 clients, and I have a publishing calendar I have to stay consistent with. How would I possibly have time to write an answer like that? Well, I do it because I have a plan to repurpose this content. This is not just going to be for one person. So the first thing that happens is random stock photo lady says, wow, that's amazing. Thanks for all that helpful advice. Very useful, right? You get emails like this, like, wow, mind blown. Thank you so much. That was incredible. But the other thing that I do next is I put that in a folder called content marketing, call yours whatever you'd like, and it sits there. And I kept these and I saved every email that I had with a detailed answer for 3 years. I shouldn't have waited that long. That was a waste. I definitely should have gotten in there sooner and started mining through this, the gold. And in the end, after 3 years, I had 68 questions from Roundup, 76 questions from email interviews, and 27 questions from clients and friends. all answered in long, detailed answers. That's 171 total questions and answers. Finally, I copied those into a Google Doc. It was 92 pages, according to that pagination up there, right, as if you printed this. Yeah, I wrote a book. We're all writing books. We're all writing books all day long. We're just not being structured about it. We're not thinking ahead. We're not applying forethought to plan it out and make sure that this stuff is repurposable. It's also the question of what should I write about? Your audience is telling you what to write about. They just emailed you what they want you to write about. The internet is telling you, the universe is telling you what they want from you every day. Just open up Outlook or Gmail or whatever you use. So then I turn these in, I break them up, I categorize them, and I realized that I'd answered a lot of questions about content marketing, some stuff about how to get started, some stuff about SEO, delegation and time and analytics and blah, blah, blah. That's almost like what the categories should be for my blog, right? Categorize every answer and every piece of advice that you give. That's more or less the information that there's the structure of everything that you're relevant for. So then I start taking these out of there, and some of these just like emerge from the womb like as adults. It's amazing. Like this one, how to turn a press release into a blog post. Kaboom, it's basically done. It was already finished. All I had to do was polish it, do some formatting, pitched it to Ginny Dietrich. Spin Sucks accepts guest posts. There we go. Anyone here guest posted on Spin Sucks yet? JD probably has. You guys haven't yet? It's a rock star blog with high domain authority, and she accepts posts, so it's worth it. If you have something really high quality, I'd pitch to Ginny or her editorial team. How to turn a press release into a blog post in 7 steps. There's the article. I just saved it. It just came out of there. Other ones, it was more work. I had to polish, finesse, collaborative content marketing. This was something that I'd been thinking a lot about. I've been talking a lot about. People had been asking me. I'd been writing advice on it. So I put it into this is my template for writing. It's like, okay, it's going to be a blog post. I'm going to reuse these related phrases. I'm thinking about search, of course. Right here, there's the title tag. There's the meta description. This is going to be the URL. I'm planning all these little aspects of the content in advance. It goes live. There's a screenshot of the piece, collaborative content marketing. This is an SEO trick. Keyword, number. Steal my headline writing template. Keyword, I get full 100% key phrase prominence. There's 2 aspects of SEO and on-page SEO. Frequency and prominence. Frequency is how many times it appears. Prominence is how close to the beginning it appears. Titles have frequency and prominence. Headers have frequency and prominence. Body text has frequency and prominence. Those are the 3 places where we indicate relevance. SEO is about indicating relevance. So my header up here has 100% key phrase prominence in the target key phrase, collaborative content marketing, : that punctuation, dash or colon or parentheses gives you basically the opportunity to make like a double headline. Have you ever seen the Guardian's research on this? Like 20% increase in click-through rates when you have like the double headline with the punctuation. The number increases the click-through rate in social media sharing and all the good stuff. It increases visual prominence. Numerals stand out against letters in a line of text. Yeah, so this is the article anyway that basically I had already written via email. Just had to repurpose it. And today that thing ranks number 2 for collaborative content marketing. Search if you want to confirm, or hopefully it still ranks number 2. Probably does. It ranked at the bottom. I'm tracking the rank in Moz. It ranked at the bottom of page 1. Then it ranked like on page 3. I'm losing. And I'm starting to win again. Someone liked it, and the rank starts to climb. And now it ranks at the top of page 1, and it has for many weeks. Similar piece about testimonials. Yeah, I'd given so much advice, right? We do web design. I have all this web design advice. I'd written so much about the topic of testimonials that I finally put it all together into one big, look, there's my trick again. I'm so predictable. Into one big article about testimonials, how to write testimonials, parenthesis, plus number, customer, secondary key phrase, customer testimonial examples. This is the piece. It's like everything I know about testimonials. And today this thing ranks number 3 for how to write testimonials and number 4 for testimonial examples. I actually think it ranks even higher than that now. I think this ranks for the single word testimonials. This thing gets insane traffic. Like it's like 3,000 words, everything I know, right? Like it was like years of research if you count all the emails I've been responding to. And there's the rank. This is the rank tracked in Moz. Started as an email, gets hundreds of visits every day. Started as an email, an internal email, right? Gets hundreds of visits a day. That's the spike. Search, social, and email are your 3 main channels in content marketing. Email, that's the send from email. Social, little bit of a tail to that, right? I'm having conversation, I'm connecting with influencers, I'm responding to comments, I'm putting it in social streams. And then it ranks nowhere in the world. I'm sad, right? Look at that. Like, no, if you get a tail of traffic after that or not, depends on how well it performed in search. Not much, starting to rank higher until eventually it's like getting hundreds of visits a day. That's the analytics for an individual URL, and you can see almost at a glance the different sources of traffic.
Now, was there anything that you did actively or otherwise to try and get that transition from April to June?
I did, and it's a lot of the stuff that Sue was just talking about. I consider this piece to be the center of a hub, and I'm trying to create more content and more enthusiasm around that hub, partly by mentioning it in other places, contributing, citing it and linking to it in roundups. I purposely created diagrams within the article that I can use when I'll show you some other tactics that I'm using toward the end. But yes, it's not enough. It's not. I was definitely actively promoting this and looking for any chance to mention it or share it or talk about it or email it to anybody for any at all.
You're number 2.
For the word testimonials, yeah. It's probably 500 visits a day. It's like some insane now magnet of traffic. And links, which is the main benefit, is that it's attracting links, which increases my domain authority, which increases the likelihood that any page on my site ranks for more valuable phrases.
So what percentage of those visits is a result of the search engine versus all the other places where people might be linking to?
It's 99% search for sure. There's no reason why anybody would find this anywhere. How-to content performs very well in search, but not that well in social media. Content that answers questions performs well in search because people are trying to answer questions. Content that's like emotional or interesting or unexpected or collaborative or visual, that stuff works well in social. Here's a quick tip for like identifying, like you can almost see it at a glance, like after a while, it's like, oh, I can tell that topic will perform well in search or that topic will perform well in social. They're quite opposite. People in social media tend to be bored. People in search tend to be busy. The targeting is totally different. In social media, you know everything about who they are, but nothing about what they're thinking. In search, you know nothing about who they are, but everything about what they're thinking. They just typed it in, right? These are like opposite but similar channels. They're sort of like, and eventually you can look at a piece of content and like, oh, that thing's, it's emotional or it's passionate or it's unexpected or it's visual or it has a bunch of other collaborators in it. Perfect for social. Oh, that's detailed, it's long, it's how-to, it answers every question, it's thorough. That's perfect for search, right? It's like eventually you'll kind of get a sense for that and you can tell like what's going to work well where. Make sense? Yep. So the formula goes like this. Hey, Andy, I just wrote a press release. Can I turn this into an article? Sure, Dave, happy to help. Here's a detailed 5-step process, right? I stopped my day and I wrote this long thing about how that person can make a press release into a blog post. And then I looked later, saved it, found the key phrase later, and then created a headline, how to turn a press release into a blog post in 5 steps. That's the guest post on Ginny's site. So social media marketers have been saying this for years. We should take their advice. Never waste a good conversation by having it in private. Do you ever hang up the phone, you're like, oh, I wish I'd recorded that. Or you say, there's like all the time, it happens to us all the time, and it's sad. Right? Good thing we're recording this now, right? It would be a waste otherwise. That way there's more value that can come out of it. It's kind of, as a content marketer, I feel bad to be like, to hear someone's great advice, but I'm like in a bar and the sound waves just disappear and like it's gone, right? It's kind of sad. We should be capturing these things because our goal is to give all that information away, be the most generous brand on the internet and attract, love and attention and leads for ourselves by giving our advice away. Another tactic I use a lot now is I write for specific people in the sales funnel. Anyone here a B2B marketer? Anyone here have a long sales cycle? Anyone here have multiple decision makers in their buying process? Totally normal. This is mostly relevant to B2B, but not necessarily. Someone asks you a question, right? Like during sales, thanks for the proposal, but what if X happens? Or what if I want to cancel my class? Or whatever the questions are that people might ask you during sales, right? There's so many. So here's another question. What my team is wondering, how would you handle situation X? Or this person saying, great meeting, but I'm unclear about X. See, X is one thing that all these people have in common. I could just answer each of these questions individually. But it's far better to analyze my funnel and see what the most common questions are that people have. And then create that piece of content so that I'm not just going to answer their question one at a time. I can publish the answer and get much more value out of it. So in our industry, it's like we redesign sometimes big websites and people ask us, how can I, will I lose my current rankings? Yeah, good question. I'll explain. No. I'm glad you asked. I'm going to send you a link, right? All of my sales team now can unify their message, and we're all just going to just send this link to this official thing about how to relaunch a high-ranking website. And this is a super detailed article that tells you, and I know my competitors use it, and it doesn't cost me anything. They're welcome to use it. Tells you everything you need to know about how to relaunch a high-ranking website. This, I think, was a video. It's going to play. It's just like scrolls down. You can just see it's like this crazy, super long article about how to relaunch high-ranking websites. So the response is, great, glad you got that covered. So here's the formula for breaking down the silos between sales and marketing, which if you're a small business, you're in luck. You have a huge advantage because that's the one person. Like, prospects ask a question. Sales team provides an answer. If these are two people, that salesperson needs to pass that topic along. Hey, this is the third time someone's asked me that question. Or marketing needs to go to sales and say, what are people asking us about? What are their concerns, their hopes? What are people afraid of? What are people worried about? Or what's trending now in your sales meetings? Or tag along in all those sales meetings. Or just go steal the salesperson's laptop and look at their sent mail folder. Probably not that. And then they turn that into content. They give that content to the sales team who can then send it as an email to the prospect. Topics flow from sales to marketing. Content flows from marketing to sales. That is, who's the most important audience in all of your marketing? It's the person who already has your proposal. It's the person who's already considered hiring you, right? The farther down your funnel your marketing goes, the more powerful, more effective it will be, the greater its impact on the business outcome. It's nice to rank for a phrase like how to write a testimonial, but a million people read that this year. It doesn't necessarily generate any revenue for us. On the other hand, addressing the needs and information gaps that my prospects have, very valuable. Right? These people are already in my sales funnel. I think you can also collaborate with prospects. This is super sneaky and really powerful. You can collaborate on content with your prospects or with referral partners. It looks like this. A lot of bloggers, they write an article, most of us, most of the time, write an article, you got an article, and you share it. Someone maybe sees it. Hopefully someone sees it. In account-based marketer, have you heard this buzzword, ABM, account-based marketing? Influencer marketing, or just, I call this zero-waste marketing, because instead of just writing the article, you reach out to one of your prospects, or a cold lead, or a potential referral partner, and get a quote from them, a contribution to add to the piece, right? You just got value from that article before it even went live. Because it was a networking excuse for you to contact someone who you'd like to have in your funnel, who you'd like to have on your team, who you'd like to collaborate with in the future. Right? Let's say there's another Hope out there, and I would really love to collaborate with Hope too on her events. How do I get to know her? I'm going to reach out to her and ask, and next time I'm writing something and ask her for a quote, it's going to start the conversation. I'm using my content as a networking tool. Really, really powerful. You get value from your content even before it goes live. Matt Hines, I love this guy. He's so bright. This guy's, if you ever get the chance to see him at a conference, he combines like everything at the same time. He's really smart. He knows personas. He knows marketing automation. Yeah, so I wanted to meet Matt, and I want to eventually work with him on projects or something. This is how I met him. Hey, Matt, I'm working on a piece about X. Would you mind contributing a quote? It's almost like 0% of people decline to be interviewed. It's like everyone just wakes up in the morning hoping to be interviewed, right? You're like, they get very excited when you reach out. You're a journalist, and they're a source, right? This is the paradigm shift of content marketing. We're now the creators, so you can use anybody, referral partners, anybody at all. So yeah, we want to collaborate on content with them. It's, you could ask yourself this. Look at your referral network if people refer things to you. Analyze them all to see what they have in common, what their job titles are. What's the most common job title of someone who refers projects to you? Now go to LinkedIn, find 20 of them, put them on a list, and for the next 20 articles that you write, reach out to them one at a time and ask them for quotes. Networking. Your content is a networking tool. Like maybe 1% of marketers use it as such. Big benefit. So this is how I collaborate on content. So I'm writing an article about testimonials. And I'm not just going to write the article. I want to make it an awesome article. So I reach out to this woman. She's in Minneapolis. She's a pro. Jen Havas is a conversion copywriter. Have you noticed this? The digital world's split into two kinds of copywriters. There's SEO copywriters and conversion copywriters. And every now and then you meet someone who's both. They're called dual threat marketers. I love these people. Put one of them in a business and it just blows up. Like they know both search and conversion. They know both cheese and mousetraps. These are like the best people to work with. But Jen is a conversion copywriter. And so I'm like, hey, Jen, do you want to contribute to this article I'm working on? Sure, no problem. How does this sound? She sent me a quote about testimonials. Wow, that is perfect. Thank you. I'll let you know when this article goes live. Scroll down. Here's the quote in the article from Jen. And her advice is brilliant. She says, the best way to make your testimonial more powerful is to give a headline to the testimonial itself. This changed how we build websites. This is like one of the best tricks I know. Don't just put the testimonial on your website. Take Jen's advice and take the juiciest 5 words out of the testimonial and make it the headline. This is why Amazon makes you write a headline for each of your reviews to increase the visual prominence and make the visitor more likely to read the full testimonial, right? I learned this from Jen during a collaborative exercise where I'm reaching out to her while writing a piece of content, but I just can't resist it. And this diagram I use all the time. This is one of the things I've done to increase the rank of the testimonials article. People ask me to contribute something, and I send this diagram. Now they'll link to the original article because that's the source of the image. But these are the 7 things that we should all add to our testimonials, right? The logo, especially if you're B2B and especially if it's identifiable. A headline increases the visual prominence, the chance that they'll read the most important words. Very unlikely anyone would have read that because that's at the bottom of the testimonial. Buried the lead. The picture, name, title, and company of the person who provided it. Be human. And then this is a tricky thing that I love to do. Video testimonials are, of course, more compelling and convincing, but the text-based testimonial gives the opportunity to indicate relevance. A keyword-focused testimonial is one of only 4 tactics I know of in all of digital that increase both traffic and conversion at the same time. That helps the page rank and adds evidence to the visitor. It's social proof that this is legit. Traffic and conversion, SEO and CRO, search engine optimization and conversion rate optimization. I'm only partly kidding when I say I want Eli to be good at 2 things in life. If he's good at SEO and CRO, that kid's going to be rich. Like that's the game, right? Every action we take in marketing should be designed to specifically affect our traffic or our conversion rate. Or why would we do it? Every action we take in digital should affect either our traffic or our conversion rate, or it's not a measurable outcome. And one of my tips for testimonials also is to never make, I've said this before, Bob's heard this, never make a testimonials page, because visitors tend not to go to testimonials pages. Go look at your analytics. On this account, this testimonials page is the 31st most popular page. If that's your most compelling content, why would you put it on your 31st most popular page? Terrible idea. That's not best foot forward. That's like best foot backwards. Put testimonials throughout the site. Make every page a testimonials page. Put your testimonials right next to the marketing claim that they support.
I don't know if you're going to go over this, but do you have a platform that you use for covering that social proof, or do you usually hard-code it in because you're designing websites?
I would curate these things carefully and manually by hand, looking at, so if that testimonial went on a page about whatever the topic was, conversion optimization or something. Ideally, they're pixels away. So if your thing says, yep, a lot of websites make lots of unsupported marketing claims. So you say, we're number 1 in on-time deliveries. That's just an unsupported marketing claim. But if right next to that you have a person saying, wow, that was super fast, I can't believe you got it here right away, then literally the distance, you could almost count the pixels. Like that should be very, very close. So I would do it by hand. I would build them out. I would flow it down the page. The anatomy of a high-converting sales page is your audience comes to the page with questions in mind. So the page should be structured with answers, evidence, answer, evidence, call to action, answer, evidence, call to action, as long as it needs to be to defeat every one of their objections, answer every one of their questions, and give them a clear, specific, benefit-driven call to action to guide them toward the contact page. No benefit to short pages. Never seen a study that showed short pages convert better. So everything that you say, of course, everything that you say is marketing. Everything that they say is social proof. You can't write copy that good. Your testimonials are better. Everything we say is automatically marketing. It's kind of a bummer. You can't get out of it, though. That's just the consequence of being a content marketer. So 2 bloggers. This is my final case for collaborative content. Blogger A, blogger B. Blogger A did not go to Digital Megaphone. I'm sad for them. Blogger B is here, and she's going to beat the first blogger because she has a strategy to reach out to more people, to get input on topics. She's answering questions, right, and keeping and storing that content later to be repurposed. And then when it comes time to write something, including other people, some of these members from their team, right? Build a squad, and then include them in that stuff, and the content is just like filled with people. These two things go live. Guess which of these is going to get shared more? It's obvious, right? They have different outcomes. Content optimized, we should all build content with promotion in mind. Content optimized for search includes keywords. Everybody knows that. Thanks for coming. Key phrases in your title, in your header, in your body text, right? That content is search optimized. But what most people miss, content optimized for social media should include people. How many people are in your content? Did you just make all this stuff without any faces in it? There's no one in it, right? You have a big disadvantage. They say this, how many, I think of it this way, how many people are waiting for that article to go live? That number should be greater than 0. A little bit late if you just publish the thing and then hope that someone sees it and reads it, right? We should be filling our content with faces. When you do it well, then it's like a little party. I wrote this article with like how to get more out of an event, and I included like 30 people in this thing. It's a massive post, and I just get advice from everyone that I knew who I met at events, and I didn't even have to share it. They're like hanging out. They're like talking about it. They're tagging each other, right? Because an ally in creating content is an ally in promoting it. I use content as a networking tool. If you've ever been lucky enough to be in someone else's thing and you get that opportunity, here's an article that someone included me in, Dennis Schaub. Met him at an event. Love this guy. He's very generous. And he wrote this thing about 4 marketers who are experimenting on their websites. I was doing an experiment at the time, and he knew about it, so he included me in this roundup. There's another guy who was included, a guy named James Carberry, who has a really great podcast. And so anytime that my face is in something else that someone else is in, I'm going to connect with them almost immediately because I want to potentially collaborate with them. Hey there, James. Looked like you and I were in the same roundup. I thought I'd reach out. I fuzzed out his name, but it doesn't matter. James says, hey, glad to connect. And then I send this all the time. Hey, blah, 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 I like that thing. Anyway, if you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all, just say the word. James' response, yeah, actually, I've got a podcast. Would you like to do you want to be on our podcast sometime? I knew that he had that podcast. It's like Inception. Like I put that thought in his mind. And I say that all the time. I say that so often. I gave myself the title of schmoozer right here. Don't hesitate to reach out if you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all. I've typed that so many times that I do it constantly. In fact, the videos aren't playing in this. I have it's a text expander where if I hit the same keystroke 3 times, it automatically expands into this full sentence. If you'd ever like to collaborate on anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out. This is a screencast video of it. I don't think it's going to play. Yeah, it saves me a little time.
It's because it's not on your map.
Yeah, maybe this was a little silly video of me doing that where it just goes and expands to that. So I take that all the time. Why? Because I want to collaborate with people, right? I'm an SEO and a content marketer. I'm a collaborative marketer, and I believe in the overlap between search and social. You get the idea. This is that tool, the auto text expander for Google Chrome. Anything that you type a lot, you can just get this browser plugin and set up a little combination of keystrokes that'll make whatever your email signature or some standard text.
Keyboard shortcuts on your iPhone.
Can I what?
You can keyboard shortcuts on your iPhone.
Oh, does it? On your phone?
You can copy and paste that, and you type on your iPhone.
Oh, I should definitely do that. My hands hurt. Like I type all the time. Yeah. If you ever write to me and I respond with that, you'll know exactly how I did it. It's embarrassing, actually, confessing to these things. Collaborating is also more fun, so you check your fun report in analytics, and that you'll see that spike during the time when you're collaborating. That's a joke slide. Friendship goes up. See, friendship, it's going up and to the left. High fives, getting high fives, like that's another report that totally does not really exist in analytics. So I really believe this, though, and I think of it this way. We should all be having fun and building connections and really helping people and making friends. I think there's not a friendship report in analytics, but that's like, if you're not making friends, you're doing it wrong. I sincerely believe that. We should all be helping others and making stuff together. So you're in other people's stuff, they're on your stuff, you're all working together, and now you end up getting these emails of people saying, yeah, the post that we worked on together went live. So now I have to say thank you. And I spend a lot of time saying thank you, and this is one of the things that I do a lot of typing for, And eventually, this isn't a joke, the skin on this part of my wrist is a different color from getting a cortisone shot. This is a true story. I got a cortisone shot because I have tenosynovitis. Anyone here have what they call now, it's like RSI, repetitive stress injuries? This is like serious, like a lot of us. You don't have like elbow thing? Who can relate to this? Like, yeah, it hurts, right? This is a serious problem. That's why, I'm not kidding around. So here's a piece of content that can help that is kind of related to marketing, but it's something to consider. I have a document that is called Virtual Assistant Marketing Training for Promoting Content. Something goes live, and there's a virtual assistant that's kind of on our team, kind of not on our team, who will follow these instructions to promote any piece of content that just went live, whether it's on our site or someone else's site. And it's this long, detailed thing that says everything about how we share anything. For several weeks, first thing in the morning, before sharing anything, I would document and make screenshots and little videos of how I do all my social media promotion. Because promotion of content in social is something that definitely can be delegated. I'm not just spamming the internet. These are things that I made or I contributed to or I've read. But the how to share them in all the different places is something that I've been able to hand off. So we have a spreadsheet now that Amanda and I use. Amanda Gant is our marketing director, called Promotables. And the number of times it gets shared on which networks is on this little chart down here. Just copy and paste the link in here. That's going to be shared 3 times. Who to thank, all the information about that. This is a piece of that training document is a piece of content that saves me between 6 and 8 hours a month. Make a piece of content that saves you 6 hours a month. You're going to be very happy about that, right? It's a good day when you like eat your vegetables, go to the gym, and write a blog post. It's a great day when you take something off of your plate forever that makes you like more effective forever after. Really, really powerful. Chris Ducker's book, Virtual Freedom, goes into details about how to find VAs. He says your first 2 or 3 aren't going to work out. The next one you find is going to be amazing. It's going to change your life because they're going to do that forever. Jeannie Dietrich last night at Wine and Web said she has an executive assistant who oversees 5 different virtual assistants. So I had like 6 processes in this document, and I talked to my friend who's in Australia, Will Blunt. I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited right now. I just documented my 5th thing, and I'm going to be able to delegate this now. He's like, yeah, I have 22 videos I've made and 4 virtual assistants who do all that work for me. Maybe that's the game. Maybe that's how this really works. Maybe we should all be offloading the things that are repeatable to low-cost, efficient resources. And how do you do that? You make a training document that allows you to hand it off. And who's better at making a training document than a content marketer? It's exactly what we do all day. Tell people, show people a process for doing something better. So this is a great opportunity for anybody in content marketing, and it's much more difficult to people who don't ever create content. So internal documents are also a great source of content. This is a trick that I use. I went up to Renee. She's a strategist at Orbit. Hey, don't we have a big checklist we use for building websites? We sure do, Andy. It's right here. Wow. Thanks, Renee. This is great. So she gives me this document, and it's got a lot of bureaucratic-y stuff in it, like about invoicing and whatever. But it's this huge, long checklist for everything that we do before our website goes live. This is Orbit's own website launch checklist, and we've designed and launched 1,500 websites over 18 years. Like, this is a lot of knowledge went into this. And so I move it into my template for writing, and it's now my website launch checklist. I'm going to target this key phrase, website launch checklist. I'm planning in advance, right? There's my URL, and my title and meta description are going to go here, and there's my email. I'm going to share it with this guy who has great checklists, and I've got all my strategy and collaboration, insert key phrases, and sharing stuff all planned out. So the page goes live, and it's the HubSpot has one that's like 12 things or something. Mine is 55 things to do before you and after you go live. It's this extremely long, detailed post. Around this time, people sometimes stop me and ask me, Andy, aren't you worried that all of your competitors are going to steal all your best ideas? This is a common the question that people ask me, and that a lot of marketers feel before they share something, before they publish something. Well, should you give away all this stuff? Like, that's a lot of intellectual capital. So I made this next slide to answer the question of if I'm worried about my competitors stealing it. No, not afraid of my competitors stealing it. Because if I'm worried about that, let's say I have knowledge, I'm afraid of sharing it because, Hope's going to get this insight. John Davids also has this knowledge, and he's afraid of publishing too, right? So he's not going to publish it either. Meanwhile, Sue writes an amazing piece, and Hope finds her, right? And we just left ourselves out of the game. That's the opposite of content marketing. Content marketing is a test of generosity. Whoever gives away the most helpful, useful advice wins the largest audience. That's basically the whole job, is to get all that information out of your brain and onto a web page in a way that it's shareable and findable and rankable and so forth. So yeah, today this article ranks number something, I don't know, 5 for website launch checklist. These are maybe older screenshots, so you could check the rank now if you want. This is the email traffic from that day. Someone liked it on social media probably. This is search. That's email traffic almost certainly. This is search traffic probably. That spike would probably be a social media little hit. Someone shared it somewhere. And then you can tell the rank declined a little bit, but this is also all search traffic. Yeah, 46,000 page views for that article that I would have had none of if I decided to hoard my information, right? Plus, according to Google Search Console, it's been linked to from 46 different domains. Again, increasing my overall domain authority, increasing the likelihood that all my pages on my site rank, including the pages about WordPress web design, Chicago e-commerce, mobile web design, right? I could never rank for WordPress web design if I didn't have tons of pages relevant to all kinds of phrases, attracting links from lots of websites, increasing my domain authority, increasing the likelihood that I rank for the money phrase, the commercial intent key phrases. Totally serious about this tactic. Updated. This is maybe the best thing I've learned this year, and one of the things that I'm going very, very deep into. A little bit of an opportunity after you've been publishing for a little while. So if you look, I'm using Moz. You can watch it anecdotally, but this is a key for, oh, there it is, the website launch checklist. We saw it decline. It's ranking however high. Oh, the rank starts to decline. So maybe this page needs a little love. I always ask myself, which of my pages need a little love? They're not done, right? Digital ink is never dry. There's no such thing as a finished web page. We have to keep, there's always opportunity to improve. This is that same, right? Look, you can see it's declining. It was getting hundreds a day. Now it's getting only, a little more than 100 a day. A tool like Moz will show you, it's like a stock report, right? This is all of these key phrases, how high you rank, and how that rank changed since the last report, probably 2 weeks ago. This one dropped by 2, this one dropped by 1, that one dropped by 6. These are pages that need a little love. There's another report that shows you your search visibility or something like that. But these pages might be quite credible. So the relevance is maybe a problem. Maybe there's better pages on the internet. HubSpot has like 40 full-time marketers. They're going to crush us all someday, but we're going to go down fighting. That page, whatever that page was, might have a lot of authority. 79 websites, URLs linked to that page. This one's about internal linking. It's a 46 out of 100. The page is a 46 out of 100 in terms of its authority. So what I do when I find these pages that have authority but lower relevance, I add them to a list that I call focus, and these are the pages that need a little love. So now I know that if I ever get the chance to write for someone or talk about something, or I'm going to guest blog somewhere or contribute to an interview, I'm going to go look at these things as opportunities to try to build a link to it, or maybe rewrite the thing. Here is a killer SEO tactic that combines analytics and search. There's a report in analytics, your queries report, that will show you every phrase that you rank for. SEOs have been complaining for years that all the keyword data is missing. There's tons of keyword data in analytics. It's not in the all traffic organic report. It's under the Search Console queries report. You have to connect Google Search Console to analytics, and then all these reports here show up. For some weird reason, Google only gives us 3 months of this data. Don't get anything older than 3 months or newer than 2 days. But the queries report will show you every phrase that you rank for, the number of clicks you've gotten from that phrase, the number of times it's appeared in search results, and the actual rank, the average position, the average rank over that date range. This is everything that you rank for and how high you rank. Now, you always can filter any of these reports by using that little filter box. I'm going to use the filter box to show, to filter down this report by clicking the Advanced button next to the filter. See this little, when you type something into that box, it filters the first column for whatever word you entered. If you click the Advanced link next to that, it lets you filter for other columns besides the first column. So watch this. Include where the average position or rank is greater than 10. If you include only phrases for which the average position is greater than 10, what is that? If your average position is greater than 10, that means you rank high on page 2. This is me saying, hey, Google Analytics, show me every phrase that I rank for high on page 2. That's like a gold mine of information. This is everything that you almost rank high for. You've heard the joke, where's the best place to hide a dead body? Page 2 of Google. There they are, right? All of these things. And a small amount of improvement to one of these can move them up a little bit. But in this case, moving them up a little bit moves them from page 2 to page 1. Like 10 minutes of work, you can get like quadruple the traffic to any one of these articles. I made a video about this. It sounds like clickbait. How to rank higher in Google in 5 minutes. I don't think it even takes 5 minutes, because this was only 30 seconds to create this report. Now I just have to go confirm the rank, find the page, and increase and improve the page, right? So this is basic. So if it's a really competitive phrase and you're really serious about ranking high, you're going to do more than just, spiff it up. I actually go back now and I rewrite these things. So this is a list of phrases for which I almost rank high. And now I'm going to go back and these are the pages that really need a little love, where a little bit goes a long way. This is a quote from the bottom. It was buried at the bottom of a question.
Yeah, you have the phrases there. Are you, I guess, the way your website is set up, those phrases correspond directly to a specific page, so you know which page you're doing?
Yeah. So the step-by-step process would be, so what is this? Keyword advice. So I'm ranking for the phrase keyword advice. So to know where the smallest action gives me the greatest impact, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find low-hanging fruit because we're all busy. So I'm going to go search for this phrase and try to confirm the rank, right? Which it says it's the bottom of page 1. It's always going to be something slightly different than that. But confirm the rank, find the page, look at the page to see if it's even using the phrase keyword advice. And sometimes if it's not even really saying that, or it says keyword here and advice over here, it's not really relevant. It's sort of accidentally ranking. Very, very common. You're all accidentally ranking for hundreds of phrases that you don't know about. This will show you those. So search for the phrase, confirm the ranking, find the page, look at the page, judge the page against its relevance for that phrase, and look for opportunities to increase the relevance or talk more about the phrase, or add length, add detail, add examples, add statistics, add contributor quotes. Just make it a better page. You actually don't have to get fancy with keyword usage. Just make it an awesome page. This might have been something you totally forgot about. So this is what, this changed my thinking about content marketing when I read this at the bottom of an interview with Brian Dean, who's a champion SEO. Some people hate him, some people love him. Just imagine. I'm going to paraphrase. Only if all of my articles are up to date and ranking where I think they should rank, will I write something new. Otherwise, I'm just going to go update and relaunch an older article. Maybe that's the best approach. It's even more fun to think about it like in these terms with Bruce Lee. I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So many people have 10,000 medium quality articles on their website. None of them are really that good. It's probably way better to have a small number of super awesome articles that rank and get shared and kick ass every day, right? Question?
So do you just update them and keep them in the same place, or do you publish it as a brand new article? How do you do that?
I do not change the URL, first of all, because if I did, that would break links on the internet. Other people that have linked to that, I would suddenly break those links. Even if you create a through or one redirect, it doesn't pass 100% of the value. So I'm going to update that URL. I'm going to keep the URL the same. If, depending on how your content management system is built, I would like for that to appear again at the top of the rotation in the blog, because I'm going to promote it as if it's brand new.
Okay.
But
so you change the date on it, but keep the URL the same.
Well, my content strategy is to publish helpful, useful stuff that's evergreen, not to publish news. So there are no dates in my blog anyway.
But in the background of it, doesn't it have
In the background, there is a date that would determine that, yeah. But for most people's content strategy, if you're publishing advice, I don't recommend designing a blog that puts the date into the template. That forces you to date stamp everything you write, which makes old stuff look very old. Mostly dates make stuff look old, which doesn't help sharing or any other metrics, right? But yeah, we're going to promote that as if it's brand new.
So then you still do a blog post or YouTube email about
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. It's like 2 and 3 years old. Like no one remembers it anyway. There's like 0% of people are like, oh, I remember this from like way back. Actually, that periodic table was, I had to update it. It was 4 years old. What was your best article 3 years ago? Like that one is probably the one that you should put back into, give it some love. And you can see the difference, right? Visitors are spending 70% more time on that page before and after. This is the rank reversed, right? Now the rank's going up. And that's exactly that's the point, right? I made it a better page and Google likes it and visitors like it. The day that it was, so here's the rank is starting to slip, right? That's when I updated it. So now the rank goes back up. That's the change in rank over time. Moz has this report. Google Analytics does not have a report that shows you the fluctuation of rank of a specific article. It only shows you the average position, right? That's why people pay for tools like this. Google has a kind of a tense relationship with SEOs. And the total effect doubled the traffic to that piece of content. Here's a better example, email sign-up forms. I ranked number 1 for email sign-up forms. That's the day the article was updated, right? I wrote it twice, improved it. Search traffic doubled. Here's a better example, website navigation. This thing, it was like middle of page 1 for a long time. Rank starts to slip. It's almost falling off of page 1. That's the day that I rewrote it. So now the rank, you can see, comes back. Now it's ranking number 3. 460% increase in traffic. It wasn't 400% as much effort, right? It wasn't that much more effort than, it was actually less effort than writing a brand new article because a ton of the research was already done. So this is kind of a crazy idea. It's possible that you really don't need to have 1,000 articles. Maybe you just need 100 great articles. Maybe we shouldn't be writing all of this more stuff, and just your blog becomes like this endless pile. Like it's like geology. This stuff just gets buried down deep. It's like, I think of it like, blogs are kind of flawed in general, right? It's like a giant pile. Like it's not organized. It's like sort of chronological. But yeah, if we, a smaller number, I think Brian Dean has like 56 articles total, right? The guy gets like 1 million visitors a month. Very small number of articles. He keeps relaunching them. He has a launch mentality, which is another useful way to think of it. Don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing. That's the idea. But do not change the URL. So now thinking about it this way, going forward, my advice would be for URLs, so you wrote an article, it's the 7 best practices for whatever. 7 URL best practices. Why would I put that number there? That's not helpful. Because in 2 years, I'm going to rewrite that article, and it's going to be 16 best practices. Now the URL is mismatched with the content itself. So it's far better to just say URL best practices. Or was it an event, like a webinar? No. Never put a format, ebook, webinar, podcast, never put formats into your URLs. It should just be the topic. It should be the thing. No numbers, no formats. That's a URL best practice. That's a URL that you can more easily repurpose later if you wanted to do something else with it. Make sense? It was years. I never thought of this until having published for like 12, so many years later. I'm like, oh yeah, wow, maybe I should just, never put a number in there. There's no benefit to doing it. Then I realized after doing this for a while that I shouldn't just be looking at the ones that declined in rank a little bit because they're totally unequal contributors to total traffic. So I made this spreadsheet that shows all of these pages, the titles, the URLs, and the total amount of search traffic month to month. And some of these things get thousands of visits a month. Some of these things get only dozens of visits a month. So I was down here updating some of these and like, oh, I got 100% more traffic. Yeah, but my baseline was like 50, right? What we should be focused on is the really high performers that are starting to slip because you'll get like 100x the value. This is another problem with digital. It's never equal. Everything in digital is a power curve. There's a tiny percentage of your posts that are getting way, way better results than the others. And if one of those starts to decline, you'll see a major difference in your total top-line traffic. I won't name names, but there's, oh, your question?
Yeah, when you're going back over your blogs, like, I've done this and it does, it's good to back up. Categories and tags, like, am I going to break something when I'm changing those as well?
Shouldn't matter at all, no. You could even categorize or re-tag something. Should be fearlessly, because that's just a database thing. Google's evaluating each URL as being good or bad for that specific topic or that key phrase. So the way that it's tagged or which category it appears in, it should not affect how Google judges that URL. It's kind of an independent consideration. So yeah, you should be able to move it around. You could even put it in a different category if you really refocused that on something else. But if the URL stays the same, it'll be judged based on that. A way to think about that, and not obvious to everyone maybe, but Google does not rank websites. Google ranks web pages. Google has never ranked a website. Everything is judged based on its performance as a page, as a URL. The URL is the unit of currency on the internet. Every now and then I meet an SEO or someone who's working on SEO, they're like, yeah, we do birthday cards, so I've sprinkled the word birthday card all over my website. Like, why would that matter? It's the page. Is this a great page? Look at the page. This is an awesome page on the topic. It's not about those other things. Those aren't as big a factor. So now I focus more, I'm much more concerned about these traffic champions and making sure that I give love to traffic champions, because those are the pages that make the biggest difference. So now I'm going to go just yet one more step with this. The problem with my spreadsheet is that it's like March and May. And even though you can connect Google Sheets to Google Analytics through an add-on, I wasn't doing it well, and it was frozen in time. So I made friends with this woman who is super bright, and she made me a Google Data Studio report. Google Data Studio is a product that lets you build dashboards with data from different sources. And this Google Data Studio report shows me, for any date range and for any channel, I'm choosing just search, the total amount of traffic and the change in traffic to any URL. Grabs it right out of Google Analytics. So if you really want to nerd out with data, Google Data Studio is one of the tools that people use now to build these things. And it'll be real time. It's always updated. I can see it anytime. So this is my way of saying thank you to Dana. She's the one who built that tool. Kickpoint, she's in Canada. I just asked her for a quote so I could have an excuse to make a slide, because I wanted everyone to know who Dana is. She's awesome.
Is that the kind of thing that she does? Is it a quick thing for her to do that? Does she do that kind of turnkey where you can request it and tell her your website and she just does it and it's set up?
In theory, you could copy another report. She just made this for us. It's not a normal service that she offers. She's like a little marketing agency, but she's so into analytics that she's good at all this kind of thing. Probably Upwork.com would be a better place if you just want someone to build, which used to be Odesk.
My intern used Google Data Studio to build me some new dashboards this summer. I've not used it before, but she's like, how do you not do this? We were just doing projects in school on this. So
I love your intern.
yeah.
Yeah, this is people that can do this, because the great thing about this specific report is that it's super actionable, because it helps you prioritize what to focus on. A lot of people just use data for its own sake, and my problem with analytics is that there's a lot of people who ask for information, oh, can you help me get, I have a question about my analytics, but they're just reporting instead of doing analysis. It's two ways to use analytics, right? Reporting and analysis. Reports are just charts. Analysis is decisions. So so the ideal analyst or someone who understands why you're building this. So Dana knew it immediately, right? She shaded these shaded the cells, and she's got the difference there. She understood exactly what I was doing. We're going to talk about analytics another day, right?
Yes, in February.
In February, we're going to do analytics, my favorite topic. Here's a bit more about it now, though. Here's another GA trick, Google Analytics trick. I call this the report of broken dreams. Anybody have a site search tool? Little box you can search on their website? Not everyone. I'll do this quickly. So there's a report in analytics under behavior, ABC, acquisition behavior conversion. Behavior is what they did on the website. Behavior, and under site search, there's a report called search terms, and it shows you everything that people searched for in your search tool. Everything that they typed in that search tool is here. You put the search tool on your website to give them a way to find stuff, but actually it's a very powerful listening tool for you as a website owner, because people are typing in what they want. There's very few places where your audience is directly telling you exactly what they want from you, right? Email might be one. Google sometimes, if you can see what you're ranking for, as an example. Your site search terms report is people telling you what they want. Chat logs, if you have chat logs, analyze your chat logs, right? Anytime you get data from your audience and you have a listing tool, definitely use that. So this is what everyone's searching for. This is a travel website. But the problem is, this is just the phrases they searched for, and it's useful. You can just go search for each of the phrases. Definitely search for every phrase that your audience is searching for. But I've got a combination of tools here, and maybe we can do this again in February. The secondary dimension, this is called a dimension, right? It's basically the type of report. And these are called metrics. Everything in analytics is either a dimension or a metric. First column is always the dimension, or so-called primary dimension. With this drop down, you can add something called a secondary dimension. It adds another column in here. And there's different combinations of dimensions that give you different insights. It's a really powerful combination. If you click on secondary dimension, the drop down, and then just type into that box the word exit, you can add to this report the exit page. Now I see every phrase that people search for, and I see the last page they visited on this website. Now, if someone searches from New Orleans, they left from the New Orleans page, not weird. Someone searches for Belize, they left from the Belize page, also not weird. Someone searched for packing list, they left from the search results page, that is weird. Why would someone leave from the search results page? That means that they're not finding it, right? If you search for something and you leave before clicking on anything, that's why I call this a report of broken dreams. It's a list of ways in which your website is unsatisfying. They searched for that but didn't find anything. So this website didn't have a packing list. And I knew it in seconds looking at this report. Secondary dimension of exit page on the search terms report for any site that has a search tool. Really, it's like when you get used to these things, you could open up any analytics account and find that within half a minute. I mean, it only takes a few clicks. So do you have a page on the topic? If not, go make one. Or do you have a page that doesn't appear for the key phrase? Go optimize your own content to rank in your own search tool on your own website. That's a type of SEO that I hope we're all excited about. That's just optimizing your own stuff for your own site, right? Your own search tool. This is reminds me of the time I was on the city of Chicago cuts down trees all the time, and they mulch these trees, and they put piles of mulch in different parts of the city for anyone to go pick up mulch. I knew they did this, but I couldn't find on their site where that was. So I kept searching for mulch and where is it, and I'm clicking, and it's not here, it's not there. After like 10 minutes, I realized that page was called wood chips. They never did this, right? They would have definitely they had the page, they just weren't calling it mulch, right? It's not called wood chips, it's called mulch. So it's data, that's what analytics is about. Marketing is about empathy. Digital marketing is about data-driven empathy. We're using data to learn what our audience really wants from us, and then we're going to give it to them. We're going to solve for their information needs. We're going to close any content gaps. We're learning what they need, and we're going to give it to them. That's the job. The miss would be making something that they don't need, or not making something that they were asking for. Someone asked me one time, it's like, tell me in one word what my website has to do. One word answer to that question. What does your website have to do? Answer. Why do you go to websites? Go look at your browsing history. It's very obvious, right? It's not like these are crazy like aliens who are visiting from outer space. They're us. We are this audience. We are audiences for other websites. Why do we go to websites? It's not to see if they're pretty, right? It's mostly just to get information. The number one problem with websites is findability. That's navigation labels, messaging prominence, right? It's hierarchy. It's organizing. It's filling these pages with everything that they might need. So the mindset of search, here's a big picture SEO. Anytime someone says, how come I'm not ranking for this thing, right? Or at the start of every project, we ask our clients, people who are looking for you are searching for what? That's the first process. That's the first step, empathy. The next question we ask ourselves is, which page on your website is most relevant for that phrase? People frequently, right in that moment, they sometimes realize, oh, I don't even have a page on that topic. Hopefully you do. The next question, now look at the page, look at it critically. Is that really one of the best pages on the internet for the topic? You should believe that you made one of the top 10 pages on the internet for the topic. We're not trying to trick a robot. Google has 2,000 math PhDs on staff. They are smarter than us. We want them on our team. You're not going to trick them. It's literally try to make the best page on the internet for whatever you're writing about. You should believe in it that sincerely. I want to do a presentation someday where I give someone a name tag that says Google, and then ask someone else to sell it. Convince this person that that's an awesome page. You should be able to sell it as if you were selling it to a person. Yeah, look at this page. It's amazing. It answers every question on the related topics. It's got 2,000 words. It's filled with data and examples. This page has got contributor quotes. And testimonials. This is the best page you'll find. That's the extent to which you should believe in your content if you're serious about search. If you didn't make the best page on the internet, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not SEO. Quality is the purpose. That's what Google's trying to deliver, relevance. We want them on our team. These last few tactics are actually more related to last night in the conversation with Ginny. We've been talking about this lately because it's relevant. This is random now. Can I go on a tangent? You okay with that? It's short. Low performers, right? People often ask, like, how do you get it all done? Or, like, it's a common question that you'll see, like, people interview Ann Handley or Jay Baer, like, how do they do it? They're not doing it like this. Low performers, they wake up a little bit late, and then they just handle email they jump into their inbox. At lunchtime, they're on Reddit, right? They're not very structured in their time. They have a little bit of time for family, but they're probably distracted from other work stuff. And then maybe they binge watch Stranger Things, which I'd love to do, but I have other things. I'm busy at the moment. And then maybe they check out email right before bed, which is a horrible idea, right? But this is what high performers do. First of all, they get to bed earlier, right? Ever read a biography of a CEO who slept late? I've never seen it. So Ginny is 5 a.m., right? She's writing from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. She's with her kid from 7 to 8, and then she's on the bike from 8 to 9:15 or something. She's written 800 words and ride 20 miles on her bike by the time you get to work. You don't want to compete with that woman. Like, they're very serious about success, right? So I'm rewriting the book. I wrote a book about marketing, and so for me, my days normally start at 4:30. I write from 4:30 until 6. Kid wakes up, I make breakfast, shut the laptop, it's Eli time, and I'm not doing anything else, no distractions. But yeah, if you've got a plan, right, some of the most effective people exercise first thing. But do something important before you do something urgent. Don't look at your email until you've shared your best advice. Write something that will last, it'll be durable, it's going to be on the internet for a long time, right? So yeah, family time, lunch, take advantage of that, right? Turn off all distractions. And then I watch part of a movie. It takes me 4 days to get through a movie, but I'll watch a little bit of a show maybe and then try to get to bed early. I should be asleep, or at least reading a book and falling asleep by like 9:30. So how do you get up so early? You just go to bed early. It's not that hard. That's the end of my tangent. One last trick. I've been talking a lot about repurposing. Oh, Bob.
What about low performers tweeting at 3 in the morning?
Maybe they've automated that. Maybe that's their virtual assistant. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. That's not a virtual assistant in that example. I get it, yeah. So a lot of this was about delegation, was about repurposing, was about becoming more efficient. Here's another trick that I learned, and the first time a challenge for anyone here. This is an amazing intellectual exercise. Try this out. I talked about my wrist earlier, that now I'm onto my elbow, but I don't mean elbow like your body part. Elbow stands for a lifetime body of work. All of you have a lifetime body of work. You're always contributing to something. If you're creating content, you're building out this body of work. It's a sum total of everything you've ever created, right? So this is my name. I did this exercise with my friend Heidi, and we called it the Heidipedia. But whatever that thing is, right, if you plan that out in advance, and then you blog into it, what that can become later, you can repurpose that into a book. Here's my Andypedia. This is a horrible photo. These were Post-it notes of everything that I know about digital marketing. I put it on the wall, organized my thoughts, and spent weeks thinking about exactly how I could structure this all, how it flows together. Then I realized that there were gaps. Some of this stuff I had written about, some of this stuff I had not written about. Some of the stuff I should have written those articles years before, right? That flowed into what became later the table of contents, which, by the way, looks a lot like your blog categories, which, by the way, looks a lot like your blog posts. And that became the book. How do they do it? They're just more structured. There's more forethought. There's more planning and focus than other marketers. That's how these people do this stuff, right? They are repurposing content. They're thinking about it in advance. And these things all fit together in like a giant fractal on their minds. That's how these high performers are creating the big content. You can't sit down and just write a book, right? But if you think about it in advance and then go about your normal blogging routine for the next 18 months, you might have a book. That's the only difference, is the forethought piece, right? That's how this came about, and that's how a lot of these people, a lot of these bigger name marketers, this is a self-published thing that sells 1,000 copies a year, but the best sellers, a lot of them even do it this way. So that is right there, coming in around time.
No, we have time. You have until, technically, you have until 3:25.
Okay, so we have at least 10 minutes for questions. If there aren't questions, I have a couple more backup slides, but why don't we take a quick, take the temperature here and see who has thoughts or questions about anything so far. Go ahead.
So I'm not the one who actually writes any of the content for our blog. It's other people in the company. How does that, is it the same process with this, just getting somebody else to do it instead of you doing it yourself?
Yeah, that's potentially even way better than any of this.
Sometimes, but they have other jobs to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's a half-written article and it never gets done.
Yeah. I'm actually unsuccessful at that myself. There's a lot of people who speak and teach about how to build a team who produces content and how to do editorial workflows. There's a lot of companies that have launched software that help people manage a piece of content as it goes through a workflow. The structure for teams that I've seen, and this was also touched on last night, the structure that I've seen for teams is when they have the content strategist who determines these are the topics we're focusing on, and this is the keyword alignment for each of these topics. The hub that Sue was talking about, right? It doesn't take a writer, that's the strategy piece. This is the middle of the hub, these are the aspects, these are the things around it, this is the keyword we're going for, and we're gonna do this for 3 months. We're gonna focus on this topic, we're gonna produce these assets, it's gonna be an infographic, video, an interview with an influencer, 2 offsite posts as guest posts. We're going to be jumping on this hashtag and talking on these Twitter accounts and finding these people on LinkedIn. So it's the strategist actually that can do that and is the greatest add of value.
And providing the keywords ahead of time.
I think
Okay.
it's almost.
That's one where I'm always at the end of it after the article's written and I'm like, okay, what's the keyword for this page?
That it's right. I'm familiar with that too.
Yeah.
And if you're not, I could argue both ways that you should create content and then look for keyword alignment. That's almost always true when people write the sales part of their website. Websites have 2 parts, right? There's the brochure that sells stuff, and then there's the content marketing stuff, which is like the little magazine or Wikipedia that's next to all that stuff. So for the sales part, you kind of have to say what you want to say. You have to talk to the audience. You know them already. Write the stuff you want to write, and then look for keyword opportunities. But for the blog post stuff, I actually think it's totally reasonable to get the idea for the topic and then go look for phrases and maybe tweak the topic depending on what phrases you think you can rank for. So if you build that hub to be focused on a phrase, all that stuff around it can support not just the traffic to it, but the ranking of it, which gives you that durable visibility.
Do you have resources that you think are helpful on how to build a team around creating content or the editorial workflow that you were talking about?
No, I'm not. It's outside of my area of expertise, honestly. It's not in the Andypedia at all. It didn't work out for me. I think I freaked out some people by going like super deep on topics and like, oh my God, I can't write that thing. He's got like way too many diagrams and images and 5,000 words. And they're busy anyway. But if you do want to collaborate with others off-site, like it's very efficient to create your guest blogging guidelines and make those live. If you want to submit to Amanda, it's orbitmedia.com/guidelines. You can see ours. If you have editorial standards, we've actually written that piece and we have our own editorial standards. Does your brand use GIFs or emojis? What kind of, do you write long paragraphs? Is it detailed? Is it research? Is it news? Is it trends? Is it friendly? Is it formal? All of those things that are kind of brand guidelines, but for content, like the voice stuff. Those are all documents that will help you manage and become more efficient if you were to delegate or hand off or work on a team. But there's usually the content strategist decides, okay, whether it's one person or many people, the roles are the strategist who defines the topics, the keywords, and potentially the collaborators. There's the writers who do the first draft. There's the editors who go back and make sure that it all fits and works and puts in the internal linking. I have a friend who works for a company that has one person that just writes the headlines, which goes back to newspaper days, right? There were headline editors who just wrote the headlines. Some of the people who are the best at this, it's a cooking technique, mise en place. Have you heard of that? Where you get every one of your ingredients out ahead of time. So The research is sometimes a separate thing. You have some people who just do all the research and find all the resources that might be relevant, but probably Content Marketing Institute would have the best guides on collaboration and working within teams.
So I was quite interested by the discussion about having fewer really good articles rather than millions of mediocre ones. And the example that you gave about Brian Dean only having like 56 total articles or whatever that number was. Do you feel like the format of a blog where it's basically like this, you know, list of articles is the best kind of presentation of things on the website, or is turning it into more like what Yahoo used to be, where you'd have like these sub areas and basically almost an index or table of contents page where it's, I guess, more hub and spoke rather than kind of chronological and category driven?
Sites that have published lots and lots of stuff sometimes evolve or mature to the point where they have a page that says, start here, or are you new here? And that's a way to try to guide people into like a table of contents. I'm starting to think that maybe I should do something like that. There's other techniques where you have your email call to action is get this emailed series of all these important messages in a flow that makes sense, right? It's like an online, it's like an emailed course. And that's one way to structure your content in a way that keeps it from just being a random flow. But ultimately, a lot of these techniques here make some of that obsolete because you end up with lots of pages that rank for lots of phrases, and those become entry points. So in reality, if you have a well-search optimized website, right, the home page is just one of many landing pages. People always overvalue the importance of their home page, their blog landing page. That if you have a well-optimized site, most of your visitors are not starting their experience there. Google is a segmentation engine. So people who search for a thing land on the thing, and the best way to guide them deeper is just through internal links or related articles at the bottom. So ironically, you know, I think it's a good idea to give people at some point, like if you have a lot of content, like some kind of structure for these things, whether it's a table of contents page or a start here page or an email sequence that shows them, that guides them through things. But they're going to choose their own adventure. And visitors, if you watch visitor behavior and look at your analytics, people just go all over the place. We all do. That's how we like to do it, I guess. But it's a good idea, you know, to sum up with structure. The book settles that because it's, you know, here it is. It's everything. It's all in one place now. Does that help? Good. Another question?
3 or 4 more minutes. So we have time for like one more question. Anyone have one? Or you want to do one more?
Sure.
Question, I think?
Yeah. But this one is a confession. You're going to think I'm a spammer after this. This is the super secret advanced SEO that we could just keep within this room. So I sort of feel weird about this one. It goes like this. You have some articles that need more love and that would really, really benefit from a link from something else. Okay? Link, link, nudge, nudge. As we said, there's 2 reasons why pages rank. Relevance, choosing and using keywords, and authority, links from other websites. On-page SEO, off-site SEO. So I get an email from someone who says, hey, you know, would you like to contribute to my article? I showed this to my wife. I was prepping for another presentation and showed this, and she's like, why do you have the Family Guy dude in there? That's like a famous, is that Seth MacFarlane? Yeah, I didn't know who that was when I saw this. I actually found the slide and put it in here. I literally searched Google for guy. And I'm like, oh, that guy was friendly. I'll just put him in there. I don't know anything about Family Guy. I just randomly chose that picture. So the founder of Family Guy sends me an email saying, hey, do you want to contribute to my post? He never writes to me. That's not really him. And so the first thing I do is I go to his website, whoever website, and I look up in Open Site Explorer the domain authority of that website, because that's the value of a link from them to me. It's a scale of 1 to 100. That's how much a link would be worth, right? And 57 is like 8 times as high as 47. It's an exponential curve, right? Links from that's why PR is so powerful. Links from high authority websites are worth exponentially more than links from little websites. So then I go back to my list of things that topics, like, yeah, boy, that one could really use the boost. Probably I would choose one from the top. But yeah, so when I agree to contribute to this guy's roundup, I'm going to say, sure, how about something on that topic? I chose the topic because it relates to an article that I'm deliberately trying to build links to. As I contribute to other people's stuff, I'm looking for backlink opportunities. He says here, it sounds great, buddy. So then when I write my contribution to his thing, it's like this, blah, 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 bullet list, adding way more value than he expected, putting it all in there. And I grab an image. This is one of the reasons why I make diagrams in all of my content. So I can put the diagram in a contribution to something else. And then down here, look, image source. He's not going to take out the link. The link is the source of the image, right? That would be weird if he removed that. So then it goes live. And here it is on that website. This is a screenshot of that person's website. That's the image source link, right? There it is. I just want to link deliberately from that article back to mine, because that article needed the boost because it was starting to lower in rank. Deliberately, and the link is this is like a weird idea, like the image source link building in roundup contributions to high authority websites deliberately to pages that need that link authority most. Plus, this link includes the target key phrase. Maybe you knew this. A link that says click here is nice, but a link that says collaborative content marketing indicates the relevance of the page that it's linking to, right? That's called an exact match anchor text link, which studies have shown. Spammers overused this tactic, so if you've been doing this a while, be careful. But yeah, there's a strong correlation between exact match anchor text and high rankings. You're trying to rank for PR metrics. A link that says PR metrics to that page will indicate the relevance of that page. So that's the exact tactic being used there. So yeah, if you ever get the chance to contribute to someone's content, if you write a guest post for someone, right, you can be very deliberate about exactly where that link goes, what that link says, if that link is on a high or low authority website. That is worth 100x, like a million random little links from smaller sites or something else. Very deliberate, tactical, smallest action, biggest impact SEO. And you now just think I'm a spammer. So try it. Works really, really well.
Cool. I think we can take one more quick question if anyone has one. If not, we'll wrap up and we'll have a little break.
Anything?
Okay.
Find me on LinkedIn or anywhere, guys. I'd be happy to connect.